welcome back to another video. Welcome to Sammy G's World of Cinema. Today on the channel, guys, now this is gonna be the kickstart to my almighty August watches video. Now, admittedly, guys, I'm starting to record this on Saturday the 9th of August, I want to say. And that's just because, guys, as I kind of explained in my July watches video, I'm going to start recording these into segments now, like segment by segment, and then I'll start kind of just tidying it up, put it together, you know, like get it all edited it out, and then I'll start to release it on that first day of the following month. So far though, guys, I've got a decent amount of movies here, and like, so I think just because like when I was starting to record and then edit my monthly watches video, like as kind of like the tail end of each month, it was just becoming a little bit of a hard task there, especially watching a lot of movies as well, and you know, like, and just hours of and just getting it all recorded and then getting it all like edited it out. Like, don't get it edited it out, like, don't get us wrong, guys, I do absolutely love making these videos, but I think recording these videos into segments now, like week by week, is becoming a lot, I would say, better, but I still love making these videos, guys, just to give you an idea of what I've been watching per month, wherever that's on physical media or cinema trips as well. It's just absolutely great. So, as I say, guys, as per usual, I've got all of this jotted down. Grab yourself a drink as well, grab yourself a cuppa, because it's gonna be an almighty video there. So yeah, guys, these are all the movies that I have watched in the month of August, and like I say, gonna record this video into segments week by week there. So we're already 2 minutes in, guys. Let's just crack on with it. The first film I have watched in the month of August, and that was a rewatch of the original, The Railway Children. I think this is an absolutely beautiful, like, sort of like Victorian style movie that takes place in like West Yorkshire. So like, as I say, this being based in like Haworth, Oakley in West Yorkshire, this is a film I very much resonate with, but the story itself is great as well. Like these three, like this mother and her 3 children that moved to this countryside and to start a new life with the knowing that her husband, their father, is kind of like being taken away by the police and could potentially go to prison for something that he's been framed for, and but to start like a new life, and also to kind of like you know, like, I think just to kind of have like a bit of a you know, like a breath of fresh air there with kind of these like being based in like the you know, the scenic countryside, meeting new people as well, and yeah, you certainly get that in this movie, guys. There's a lot of heart to this. It's very wholesome and endearing. Again, I just love how like the mother and her 3 children just team up together. They look after one another, but they look out for people as well. Like, you know, like there'd be someone that might have hurt their ankle, or there's someone that's being drifted far apart from like a relative there, and they would like you know, like help out with that. And also Bernard Cribbins as the main conductor as well is probably my favorite. Well, the station guard, I would say he is my favorite character of this film, but it's a beautiful story. I love the railway setting to this one. Yeah, the original The Railway Children, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 there. Then me and my very good friend Mike, did you see that? And we haven't been to the cinema for ages now. What was the last film that me and Mike went to see? It was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon last year. God, was that the last time? Bloody hell, well, Mike, it was long overdue then, wasn't it, for a cinema trip for both of us, because we love going to the cinema and stuff. And so, yeah, this was a first-time watch for Mike, but this is probably the third time I've watched this film now, and we went to go and see Boogie Nights in 35mm, and I've got to say, guys, this movie gets better with each viewing. The first viewing of this film I thought was pretty good. The second time I thought it was excellent, and now I can even say now this is one of my favourite Paul Thomas Anderson films. Like, I just think the character work is really well done here. It showcases how they're trying to, like, each of these characters are very attached to this, like, sort of adult industry in film, and how they very much gravitate towards that, but how they also like to meet up and stuff and hang out. But you find as well that the main guy, played by Mark Wahlberg, at the start of the movie, you see that he's working at, like, this, I think in this kitchen part, this diner, and he's not having the best relationship with his parents, but then he meets out of the blue, like, Burt Reynolds' character one day, and then he becomes an actor in, like, the adult movie industry, and you kind of see him evolve as a character and meeting other people along the way. I kind of like how this film does something a little bit similar vein to Magnolia, which PTA's, like, follow-up film there, and it kind of will focus on each characters, and it'll keep coming back to each character, you know, like, and you know, like, in that sort of, like, that interesting kind of non-linear, like, sort of order there. And I kind of sometimes love it when movies do that as well, where you're focusing on more than one character, and you know, it'll keep going back and forth there, and it kind of is meshed together there as one piece. And yeah, this film very much does the similar thing to that. And I think, again, yeah, like, I also think as well that, like, there's a really nitty gritty, like, third act to this movie that really threw me off guard when I watched it. And, you know, it really showcases the ins and outs of, like, this industry, but also, you know, like, kind of the struggles of these characters' lives and how they're learning to deal with that. I think this film does a good job at that, but also, yeah, guys, I kind of like how this film is kind of set itself around the course of, like, from the late 70s to present day in this movie. And yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic film, guys. I think John C. Reilly, probably my favourite character in the movie. William H. Macy, man, wow, I did not see that coming from a mile off when you see him do something really out of the blue, and it's a spur in the moment thing, and it kind of spirals out of control there. But yeah, Don Cheadle is awesome. You know, I love how he kind of loves to kind of keep in command of this sort of, like, this high-tech shop as well. So it's a great movie, guys. Boogie Nights, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10 there. Then me and my brother Chris went to go and watch the latest Naked Gun at the Jam Jar Cinema in Whitley Bay. Admittedly, guys, this was my first time going to the Jam Jar Cinema in Whitley Bay as well, which is not too far from me. It's only about 20-minute bus ride from here, so it is a piece of piss to get there. It doesn't take long at all, but having watched the first two Naked Gun movies for the first time last month, guys, wow, this was such a great surprise at the cinema. I thought, for starters, Liam Neeson did a stellar job as Frank Drebin Jr. I don't think I could have thought of a better casting choice than Liam to take on this role. You know, like, in that respect, it passed the bat on to Liam Neeson from as Frank Drebin Jr. and obviously the son of Frank Drebin, played by Leslie Nielsen. And I think Liam Neeson does such a great job this film just shows it's a great homage to the original. It does show as well that legacy sequels can be a thing and it can pay off as well, and this is another good prime example of that. But yeah, there are some jaw-dropping scenes in there as well, guys, in terms of like comedy factor here. Oh man, the scene with that automatic car and the balloons as well. And oh man, there's one scene involving a lamppost. There's one scene with kind of like this on CTV in the film, and it builds itself up to the bank robbery. Oh my god. But there are just some laugh out loud moments in there, man. There's one like montage scene during this film that it really caught everyone off guard, and it does something kind of eccentric, but it isn't a little bit of a kind of, it's a little bit eccentric and a little bit of a flamboyant, more so take on the movie, but it delivers as well, guys. And also Pamela Anderson as well does a fantastic job as the main love interest in this film. It is a great time of a movie, guys, and we don't get as many good comedy films as we used to, guys, and this was a nice surprise. It was a good callback to the original. Liam Neeson was on fire in this movie. He delivered in every scene he was in, and all the scripts he absolutely elevated it. So yeah, really good, really fun time of a movie, guys, and one I would recommend if you've had reservations about this one for a little while and you're a big fan of the original trilogy with Leslie Nielsen. Definitely give this one a watch, folks. It is well worth your time. And yeah, one of the big surprises of the year. So the latest Naked Gun, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10 there. Brick Lane. This was not a very interesting movie, guys, unfortunately. I kind of liked what this film was trying to go for, don't get us wrong. And I felt, there was some, quite serious beats to this movie. I absolutely get that. And, I get there was some absolute, there was some serious themes in this movie. There was some pretty important moments to this movie, and I absolutely get that. I just felt this film was just moving at a snail's pace at times. I didn't care too much for all what I was watching on screen there. The story side of it wasn't the greatest. I was a bit bored at times, and I also, other than the main girl and probably the other main guy in there, there's a lot of these characters that just weren't very memorable for me. There was some interesting stuff to this movie, but on the whole, I I didn't get on with this one at all too much, guys. Yeah, like, as I say, like, there was I think there was an interesting backstory with this main girl and her trying to find her sister at long last. And, you know, I kind of liked how she was looking back on her cherished memories of her sister and that. But yeah, I didn't get on with the main guy in there. Is it her husband? I just didn't really, I didn't get on with his character. But yeah, there's just a lot of this movie that just didn't do it all much for me, and I found it a little bit, like, a bit unmemorable, I will say. So Brick Lane, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10 there. It was fine, interesting stuff, but on the whole, it wasn't great, guys, and probably one I won't ever return to be honest. Nah, it wasn't for me, that one, sadly. However, this film I was a little bit more fond of, though, and that is The Kings of Summer. This is a film I think I tried to watch, like, years ago, but I don't think I was into a lot of those kind of movies around that time. But I thought to myself, well, it's been about 10, 11 years since I've tried to watch this. Let's give it another go and see if my opinion changes. And it absolutely did, yeah. I really enjoyed kind of like, it was a good, like, sort of indie drama, this one, where you focus on these three main friends, like, during the summer, who they kind of are a little bit fed up with, you know, like kind of each of their families, and they're kind of just like nagging on at one another and stuff going on, and they decide to kind of like, during the summer, their own summer project is to kind of like make their own like fortress in like this forest, and kind of like build this own dream house, and kind of like, you know, like get away from home and just live together as friends there, and yeah, like, and kind of like see what life is like in the wilderness. And I just, yeah, I thought this film did a good job at that. Nick Offerman, like, he wasn't very likable at first, but there are times in the movie where you can't help but actually like his character for his wittiness and his sarcastic sort of sense of humour as well. Yeah, I think like Nick Offerman was definitely one of the standouts in the movie, but I thought all the three main leads did a good job playing off like different personalities to one another, and sometimes you do need a movie to do that as well. There was some like really nice sort of like scenic sort of cinematography as well, like of the fields, and you know, that the nature as well, and you know, like it really kind of puts you into the it puts the viewer into like sort of the like the shoes of what it could be like to like live in the like the wilderness there, and you know, like, and like how would they cope and what would they do on like that day-to-day routine. And yeah, I felt this film did succeed there, but also like the ending as well, it kind of left a little bit of an open door to kind of like what would become from like from one character to the next after its conclusion there. So yeah, it's a good solid indie drama, guys. If you love films, like I would say even Stand By Me and movies like of that similar ilk, I would definitely recommend this. So nowhere on the level of Stand By Me, of course, but it is a good solid like indie drama in my opinion. The Kings of Summer, I'm gonna give like a 7 out of 10 there. Dazed and Confused there. Yeah, this was a great rewatch, man. Yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I felt this film does a good job with like its 70s aesthetic. You know, it kind of puts you into the shoes of what it would have been like to kind of be around where there was this music coming out, you know, whether that's from Led Zeppelin and Peter Frampton and all those artists and stuff. This film kind of showcases like about, you know, like I would say drug use and that, and kind of like that sort of like that, again, rock and roll scene in the late 70s, that rock scene, and also like, you know, like groups of friends like coming together to celebrate them breaking up for summer. And yeah, I thought that there's just some really good like character work in this film. And also, yeah, like you've got an early role from like Matthew McConaughey in there, and he's, yeah, definitely good to see him in a different role to how you would normally, how you'd be used to seeing Matthew McConaughey in like one of these like latter movies. Summer of Love feel about it, and a bit of psychedelic and stuff. Great movie, guys. Definitely one that's definitely great to watch around this time of year as well. I'm going to give that one an 8 out of 10 there. This was possibly a one and done watch, but I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay, but nothing to write home about, sadly, and that is Ticket to Paradise. Do you know what, guys? I gave this a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I thought more about it over time, and I just thought this was an average movie. Like, don't get us wrong, Julia Roberts and George Clooney were the best part of this film. You know, like, it, obviously they've been in like multiple films together. It was good to see them in like a bit of a recent project with this film, but the movie just, it just wasn't a very interesting plot. Like, I think that it was about, oh, who was it? Was it the girl from Booksmart, I want to say? She has just graduated from uni. She goes to Bali, I think for like, to kind of like travel abroad, see the world. She meets this guy and they're engaged, and then Julia Roberts and George Clooney, who are like separated like parents, where, you know, like the main girl, yeah, her parents have been divorced, separated, and yeah, it kind of brings them like together in order to kind of like go to Bali and see their daughter as well, and you know, like kind of leading up to like marriage life as well. This was just okay for me, guys. Like, there wasn't a great deal like laugh out loud moments. I didn't expect that too much from this movie. There was some decent moments. Like, I did like the scene where I think they had that drinking game and they were all dancing to, was it Jump in the House from House of Pain? That was a decent scene. There was one scene I quite liked with the dolphins. But other than that, guys, yeah, I just found this a bit of an average viewing. I didn't care a great deal for this one. It's probably a one and done watch for me. I would recommend it if you want something harmless though, if you want something really easy watching, where you don't have to think too much, leave your brain at the door. This is the sort of film I would recommend there, but it's, yeah, there's much more better rom-coms out there, guys, with a more of an interesting plot attached to it. So Ticket to Paradise, I'm going to give this one a 5.5 out of 10, guys. It was a bit bang average for me, this one. However, guys, this film was far superior, of course, and this was my second trip to Tyneside Cinema this month, and that is being there with Peter Sellers. This is a beautiful movie, guys. I love this. Peter Sellers plays this guy, I think it's Chancey Gardner, I think his name is, and he's been used to be like, you know, having this day-to-day routine in this big house all his life, where he hasn't really done much, you know, like he's always been used to kind of like, you know, have service there when he needs it, and you know, he's spent near all of his life like attached to this house here, and when he finds out about the passing of his father, there's no like documents or like evidence to say that he owns the house, or you know, there's no like files or anything to prove that this is like kind of his property as well. And then he is told like within 24 hours he has to move out the house and leave the premises, and that's what he does. He goes on this sort of like bewildering like sort of journey, and to kind of like, he's just seeing, you know, the streets and this city. He's kind of seen it all in like come full circle in his own eyes for the first time. It's like nothing else he's ever seen before, and he's kind of like, his sort of imagination and his vision is kind of kept wide open there. And this is, yeah, a fantastic drama, like Peter Sellers. This is a beautiful film that was the final film to, like, the final film part of his filmography. And, yeah, he was excellent. Also, I just love how Chancey Gardner meets it's like he meets the president. He says some really impactful words and you know, like words of wisdom that really puts his name on the map there. And then he becomes pretty more like well known for his love for gardening and that, and then he meets politics, but then he has a real close friendship with someone called Ben, who's a rich like businessman, wealthy businessman. And yeah, Shirley MacLaine and Melvyn Douglas are absolutely fantastic in this film as well, I've got to say. But yeah, this is a really good, wholesome, gentle movie, guys, and the ending is kind of left to your imagination of like what its actual conclusion could have foretold right there. But yeah, excellent film, guys, and probably my favourite Hal Ashby film. However, Hal Ashby, there's a lot more of this director's work I would love to try and seek and watch at some point. So being there, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 there. Then I watched a long, well-awaiting rewatch of American Pie. The first American Pie film. I haven't seen this for probably about 10, 11 years, and oh my god, guys, yeah, it was fantastic to revisit this one after such a long time, and it's great, guys. One of my favourite American comedies, hands down. You know, Jim, he's just such a chilled out and great like leading character, and his dad's played by Eugene Levy. You've got Steve Stifler and Stifler's mom, and you've got Sherman, the Shermanator. You've got some really great characters in this film, guys, and yeah, like again, it's kind of leading up to like graduation, and these lads are kind of wanting to each find the right girl before like graduation there, and it's a great film, guys. There are some absolute laugh out loud moments in there. The scene obviously where is it Steve basically like it spikes I think that this guy's drink or something, and then obviously he gets the shits, bless him. And oh my god, the scene with again yeah, I I'm trying to remember this guy's name now, but, and also, oh yeah, the scene with the choir, the scene with Jim and that European girl, and little do they know they're actually like live on webcam to the whole world. And the scene with Jim and being very intimate, to put it mildly, with that pie. Oh man, it is a cracking time, this film, guys. It's definitely one of the most beloved comedy movies for a reason. Oh yeah, man, there's just so that, like, and it's just, it's kind of like a coming of age comedy as well, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to now, like, delving more into like this film series, because I know it's really well fond of, and yeah, I had a great time revisiting the first American Pie film. And oh, the scene again with Stifler, where again he gets his drink spiked, and oh my god, yeah, he has like an incident there. Yeah, very fun movie, guys. American Pie, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 there. Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. Yeah. So this is a film I must admit, guys, I've only known about for probably since, I think it was probably since the start of the year or something, to be honest. Yeah, I'm fairly new to this film, but I did really like this film, actually. This was quite an enjoyable film, this one. I know Tony at the Retro Movie Zone really likes this one. I think this is one of his favourite Tom Hanks films, and I can see why. Yeah, this was quite a fun one. Obviously, Tom Hanks, his character is engaged to be married to this girl, and I think, but this girl's family's got kind of reservations about like the guy that their daughter is marrying, and there is this bachelor party that is obviously, you know, planned for Tom Hanks's character, and yeah, like him and his friends just get up to all sorts of like shit and giggles. Oh, there is one scene like when they have like a bachelor in the bachelor party, and there's one scene where there's this someone that's dressed up as a donkey. Or there actually is a donkey in there, and then, like, this donkey is just smoking coke. And there's one scene where, yeah, this guy is basically, I think he's spying on this couple, and then he accidentally lands on the car. There was quite a couple of comical scenes in there. It's, oh man. But I quite enjoyed this one, guys. This was a decent, fun movie, this one, and I can see myself returning to this one in the future. Bachelor Party, I'm going to give a 6.5 out of 10 there. Yeah, really enjoyed that one, actually. I would watch that one again. Then the next film I watched was a film that I've only seen the once, and it was probably about over 10 years ago now. So I thought, well, you know what? This is the perfect time to do so, because obviously summer is still here as I'm still recording this video. And, well, September still counts as summer anyway. I guess like the early part of September. So, yeah, obviously it will still be summer when I release this video. But this is my summer of love. Set in, I think, West Yorkshire, this one. The girl and Emily Blunt, they meet and they have like a bit of an intimate like sort of relationship. But Emily Blunt's character has got like sort of these kind of whimsical sort of things that happen. She kind of makes things up as she goes along. This other girl who is kind of at a bit of a loose end, and she's really kind of, you know, out of touch with her brother. Her brother, played by Paddy Considine, is in charge of this pub. He owns this pub, but also he kind of has a like he forms a community like for like people who go to church as well and religious. His sister is basically just a bit overwhelmed by this, basically, and that how there is a bit of a change in direction with her brother, who also was recently released from prison. So this is a this is a bit of a strange movie, this one. I did like it, and this film was only about 82 minutes long, you know, so obviously if I was ever to return to this movie again, this isn't, like, by any stretch of the imagination, like, a hefty going runtime, but yeah, this hasn't got, at the same time as that, this hasn't got a hell of a lot of rewatchability for me. I think it's again, what I do really like, though, in a British drama, sometimes it really captures that sort of nitty-grittiness as well, and it kind of makes it real kind of to the knuckle, and you know I do quite like that in a British drama, but this, yeah, was a bit on the depressing side, but it was a decent film. I quite liked the relationship in this film, and Paddy Considine, yeah, his character at the start, you quite like his character, and then you see a little bit of a different side to him. So, yeah, it's an interesting movie, guys. Nothing that is gonna blow your mind or blow your socks off, but it is a decent little film, this one. So yeah, my sum of love, I'm gonna give a 6 out of 10 there. Then I watched a film that I think every man and his dog has been to see in the month of August, and definitely one of the best films of the year, and that is Weapons here. So from the same director of Barbarian, which I must admit I have not seen, but I know that film means so much to Mike. Did you see that? I think that's like Mike's favourite ever horror film, so I am gonna have to get onto that film at some point, Mike. But this, by the way, Mike did a cracking review of this film, as did Jordan at Movie Squirm as well, so yeah, I might even leave a link to those reviews in the description box down below. But Weapons was really good, guys, and also this was really great because this is the first film I actually went to go and see at my brand new local cinema in Blythe. The Market Pavilion, and by the way, great new cinema, guys. It just opened up at the start of August. The 1st of August, this brand new cinema opened up, and I've seen a couple of films there already. There's one other one we're going to talk about in this segment of the video. But yeah, guys, it's going to be absolutely awesome to check out new releases at the cinema, and this cinema's only about 10-minute walking distance from me, so it's not far to travel at all to that cinema. But yeah, going back to this film, Weapons, this was a really good film. It was a real refreshing take on a new horror movie, and I just kind of liked how it had that real mystery feel played throughout, and so many twists and turns and layers to it that is kind of well centered in this film. And I also just really loved kind of how you're focusing on like 6 or 7 different characters in this film, and you're learning from their perspectives of the disappearance of the classroom of 17 missing children in this classroom that is led by the teacher Justine, played by Julia Garner. And at first, with Julia Garner's character Justine, you really kind of feel for her. She is getting the cold shoulder. People are just, you know, like kind of on the back foot and just absolutely furious that with all of this going on, and she's the first one to blame. And you do feel for her character, and then you learn more about how she's taken this all in sort of thing as the movie progresses. But this is a really good film, guys, and yeah, my favourite part of the movie was probably with the dudes that was sneaking into this house, and he was just looking through this random box of DVDs, and then you find something else in that house that he did not expect in the slightest. But yep, and when you get to that ending, man, oh my god, it is a complete different contrast altogether, and the craziness and wackiness in that trailer is ramped up to 11 there in the final 20 minutes. So Weapons, great movie, guys. One of the best films of the year. I will be definitely watching this one again in the future. And yep, I will be giving that one an 8 out of 10 there. I fancied watching a Western, guys. I thought summer is the great time to be watching Westerns as well. And I decided to kind of look through my DVD shelf and think, oh, you know what? What DVD could I be watching here? And I went for this film with Gregory Peck, The Gunfighter. So, yep, I must admit, guys, I went into this film completely blind. I didn't know too much about this one going into it, which, of course, it can be a good sign of a real great time of a film, and this is exactly what it was. This was a very good 80-minute Western, very much reminded me of High Noon as well, and this is about Gregory Peck as this elite gunfighter who is known to be the best of the West. He is absolutely, like on the, he is kind of at the peak of his powers, and he rolls into town. He reunites with his daughter and his son, and he's kind of a bit unsure about where his son is hanging around, and obviously there is these outlaws that are out there, and he also one day he shows up at the bar and he is acquainted with someone called Eddie, and Eddie is just pointing the finger and wanting to just cause dismay, as you get in a lot of these Westerns where you do get one character that likes to kind of kind of stir up some shit here. So that's exactly what happened. And Gregory Peck, as I think it was it Ringo or someone, and yeah, he stands for no shit, and he goes all out and decides to give him a piece of his mind. And then he meets Eddie's friends along the way, and he basically is just at his A game there, and again just decides to for that destruction to come to a grinding halt at the start of the film. But then as things start to happen, and then you think Jimmy Ringo starts to get his own way, something comes back to haunt him there after that, and he is warned to leave this town, because obviously for his own benefit, but he still wants to protect his family. So The Gunfighter was a good film, guys, and yeah, I can see myself coming back to this one in the future there. I thought Gregory Peck was great. There was some good shootout sequences, and yeah, and I really liked again the scenes by either the church or in this Western town and this saloon bar. It was just, yeah, it was kind of all those tropes that you kind of want in a Western, and you do get it again here. So The Gunfighter, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 there. Cats on a Hot Tin Roof. Now, yeah, I picked this one up on DVD possibly about a couple of months ago now, and yeah, I do you know what, I haven't seen a great deal of Paul Newman's films, so I decided to watch this one. I think this has got Elizabeth Taylor in there as well, and this was great. Yeah, this was really good actually. Paul Newman, who plays Brick, he is, I think, a former football player, I think with American football, and severely injured, his leg and stuff, and he's kind of become a little bit, he's kind of struggling with alcohol, him and his wife are having kind of personal issues. Him and his wife are trying to sit down and find a time to why and when it could be a possible time to talk about starting a family. And at the same time as this, Brick's father, I think under the name Big Daddy, comes home to visit, and they're having like a birthday party, I think like his 65th birthday party, and they've got like family relatives there. And this film, it's great because the vast majority of this film actually does take place in this big beautiful house and this garden as well. And when you find that the Big Daddy makes an appearance, you kind of get more of an understanding of Brick's past and like kind of like what his like father kind of thinks to him about like his behavior at present. But also you find out that also about a previous relationship that his wife has had with someone that Brick is quite familiar with. And then, yeah, the acting in this is absolutely excellent. There's just exquisite acting off the charts in this film. It is a real pure joy to watch on screen. And yeah, there is just some powerhouse acting in there, man. It is really fantastic to watch. And, you know, like, basically the film, just like a lot of these films did in the 1950s, it is short and sweet to the point with its conclusion, and it's the end on the titles there. And I just think it's great when a lot of films did that. And, yeah, this is a fantastic film, beautiful, like obviously location with the house as well, and kind of the warm reception that the father gets when he arrives at the airport. Excellent film. Cat on the Hot Tin Roof, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 there. And I rewatched Moonrise Kingdom. Now, I have done a review of this, guys, so I won't talk about this for too long, but yeah, I can absolutely say I had a great time with this on rewatch. Again, like you expect in every of Wes Anderson's films, the character work is absolutely great in this, as to be expected here. And yeah, like again, just great, like, interesting story, like, set in 1965 on this island. And, like, you learn about how Sam and Susie in this film are brought together as a pairing. And you learn a bit about the past through, like, a couple of flashbacks. But you kind of learn from other family and relatives in this scout camp of, like, kind of, like, the disappearance of Sam and Susie in this film, and just that you focus on individual groups or parents. And it's a very good film, this one, guys. Like I say, just the score, the scenic nature, vibrancy, well captured down to a T in this film. I think I'm gonna rewatch Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I think then I'm going to start thinking about revisiting Grand Budapest Hotel and reviewing it on the channel. Because Grand Budapest Hotel, I did revisit that one at the start of the year. But yeah, I'm even more pumped now to revisit that one and review it for the channel as well. So yeah, Moonrise Kingdom, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 there. Then me and my friend Sai went to go to the Tyneside Cinema to go and see, and this is the second time that me and Sai have been to see this one at Tyneside Cinema. I believe the second year on the bounce, I want to say, and that is Paul Thomas Anderson's opus masterpiece, Magnolia. This is an unbelievable movie, this, guys. This is absolutely incredible. Just one of them perfect examples of how you do a 3-hour movie here. It just says it all, from its like writing, its direction, its character work, all put in a blender And what do you get? You get an absolute sublime piece of cinema here, and a film of its own identity, on its own accord. And this is just how you do character work, as well as Wes Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson does character work, some of it to be its finest put to screen, and front, left, right and centre. Each of these characters are just so fascinating and engaging to watch. You can't take your eyes off the screen because of just the amount of interesting aspects and layers that is just like really well handled here. And I think what else really carries that is the use of score, the music as well. It really just, the pacing is just absolutely exquisite, as exquisite gets, really. And it's just an absolutely fantastic film, guys. The soundtrack from Amy Mann is just absolutely like ear candy. It is just absolutely just, it's got a real lush, sweet nature sound about it, and like Amy Mann's vocals is just excellent as well. But yep, I just absolutely love this, like focusing on like the likes of Tom Cruise and William H. Macy and Julianne Moore and John C. Reilly. Yeah, this is an absolutely incredible film, guys. And yeah, I just love how it's, you know, like all intertwined together, and it gives the film kind of room to breathe as well, and it just sweeps by with the runtime. Absolutely sensational stuff there. Magnolia, I'm gonna give a 9.5 out of 10 there. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful film, to quote my very good friend Roy at Bloom Roy Movies. Then I was in the mood to watch a light-hearted, summery movie, and I thought I'd pick a bit of an obvious choice, but I haven't seen this film for absolute years, and I thought, do you know what? This was free to watch on YouTube. Let's give it a rewatch, and that was Mr. Bean's Holiday. Yeah, I remember going to see this at Cineworld Bradford when this film came out. I believe I went to the cinema more than once to see this one, about 2-3 times. Just absolutely loved this, and you know, this is such a big deal at the time as well, because this was like the first Mr. Bean feature-length film in like 2 decades as well at the time. So really great stuff. I mean, Mr. Bean, who is just on the verge of going on a wonderful holiday to the beach in France. What do you know, when he finds that someone is kind of like drifted apart from someone, he kind of wants to kind of make sure that person is okay, and then one thing just leads to another there, and then you find that things just keep going against Mr. Bean's way, and you kind of do really root for him and wanting to get back on track with his holiday here, but something just keeps going against him constantly throughout this film. Fun, daft, and just energetic film, this one, guys, and Mr. Bean just brings so much charisma, like on screen, and I think this is just a great definition of like a good, fun, summery related movie there as well. So yep, and again, Willem Dafoe, the side character with Willem Dafoe as this director, and the main girl in it was a great side character in there as well. I found when you meet her and Mr. Bean together as a pairing, they have a real interesting side story there. So yeah, fun movie, guys, and just some real great comical moments in there as well. Mr. Bean's Holiday, I'm gonna give a 7 out of 10 there. Then, guys, another trip to the Market Pavilion in Blythe, and I went to go and see the latest sequel with Bob Odenkirk back in action here as Hutch in Nobody 2. Now, yeah, this kind of takes kind of elements from the first film, and it kind of has a little bit of a sort of, it does something a little, it kind of peppers that with something a little bit different as well. Like, has a real different feel, but kind of taking recognition of its first film as well at the same time as that. But yeah, I just again love how this film pays nods to the first film, and again you kind of do already get a similar feel of that from minute one here. But yeah, Bob Odenkirk is absolutely firing at all pistons in this film. It was great to see the returning family in there, and obviously Christopher Lloyd as Hutch's dad in there. It's just a great fun time, and again a great film to watch at this time of year as well. I loved kind of the theme park and the carnival setting was a great decision in terms of like its direction, but you had a real interesting story, and it kind of just backfires on Hutch there, and he's trying to protect his family in the best way shape possible, and yeah, like to kind of like, you know, like he's on the hunt after these people, and he kind of gives them a high alert warning so they don't like kind of invades their family space, and he does all he can to like succeed in that. But yeah, I think Sharon Stone was a decent villain to the story as well. I kind of like some of the sort of zany shots in there. I thought I really did like the action set pieces in there. Again, like similar vibes to the first film, but also the John Wick universe as well. Also, there was a couple of nice shots in there with the red colour palette. Again, oh boy, you got some John Wick-esque elements in there, and the final act was just so much fun. Some great kills in this film as well, and if this film gets a third film, sign me up, because I've had a great time with these first two films. I will admit I did prefer the first Nobody movie. Personally, I did personally connect more to the first film, but this second film is well worth your time, guys. If you love John Wick and you love this first film, you will not be disappointed in the slightest, because this is a great time at the cinema. Nobody 2, I'm going to give a 7.5 out of 10 there. I had a rewatch of the film Youth with Michael Caine, Harvey Keitel, Rachel Weisz, Paul Dano, and Jane Fonda here. Now, I will admit, guys, I didn't love this one as I did on that previous viewing a few years ago. I have seen this film a few times, and I've always held it in quite high regards, but on this rewatch, I didn't love it as much as those previous viewings, but I still do really like this film. Holiday feel about it, yeah, like a retired composer. I think it's Frank, I think it is, played by, or Fred, I think it is, played by Michael Caine. God bless you, Sir Michael Caine. And he basically goes on he has an annual sort of holiday to go to Switzerland, and he obviously meets Mick Boyle, played by Harvey Keitel there, who is this aging director. He is working on this like masterpiece that's to be his opus there, with kind of like a like a young team of actors in there as well, like in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s. I kind of liked how also this film, again, it's kind of mainly just takes place in this part of Switzerland, you know, just around these fields and this hotel. But I think, again, there's just a lot of great aspects to this where you're focusing on individual characters for different reasons. And yeah, it's... And also just, again, the music as well, like kind of the ornate nature feel about the movie, and it kind of brings that peaceful vibe about it as well. And you just learn so much about about Mick Boyle and Fred as well, played by Sir Michael Caine, and also about their friendship and kind of like how they're just hanging around this hotel and they're there for different reasons. And it's a fantastic film, guys. Like I say, I didn't love this one as much as I originally did on that previous viewing, but I still think it's a very good film, guys. The acting is brilliant, and also I kind of like how this has a bit of a unique conclusion to it when you get to that as well. Great to see Neil's dad in there as well, and I believe also you do see who is it briefly, Lee from the Office UK edition, I want to say. So yeah, very good film. I'm going to give an 8.5 out of 10 there. I'll go 8.5 because you know what, guys, I thought about it a bit more. I was going to settle for an 8, but you know what, guys, I've watched this a few times. There's always something to draw me back in when I'm watching this. So yeah, I'm going to even stick with an 8.5 because it is a fantastic film there. I finally had a 4K viewing of The Good, Bad and the Ugly, and this is, well, is it my best viewing? In terms of picture quality, possibly yes. I think I would have to go for when I saw it at Tyneside Cinema on 2 wonderful occasions. I went with Ryan, and then the following year I went with Simon. But yeah, in terms of how the film looks and the picture quality and everything else, yeah, this was definitely my best home experience of this movie. Absolutely. It is just an absolutely spellbinding, incredible piece of cinema, this. That still stands the test of time till this day. You know, the whole back and forth rivalry between Angel Eyes, Tuco and Blondie, I just think was very well played out throughout the entirety of this film. And yeah, everyone that gives like 110% to this. The cinematography is just absolutely glorious. The score from Ennio Morricone is absolutely timeless. It is aged like fine wine, and it is absolutely just magnificent in every single way. Just the shootout sequences, the final showdown at the end is cinematic gold, as this whole film is anyway. Tuco, the iconic scene when he's running across Sad Hill, the cemetery, is one of the greatest scenes put to film, and then that final showdown is one of the greatest scenes put to film as well. The whole side story with Tuco's long-lost brother, I really think is a fantastic side story. And then the whole mystery with Bill Carlson is absolutely excellent, and you kind of find out more about that as the film goes on. This is just absolutely phenomenal, and it is my favourite ever Western, and it won't be long till I put that 4K disc in the player and just relive that magical experience with this film all over again. It's absolutely fantastic. It is And I just can't wait now to see what they're gonna do with this film for its 60th anniversary next year, because this film of this absolute quality deserves to have something special out of the hat with its 60th anniversary next year there. Good, bad and ugly. 10 out of 10. Love it. Love every single second of that movie. It's bloody ace. Then I had a rewatch of a film from Lucio Guadagnino, who is a little bit... I think this director is a little bit hit and miss for a lot of people, and I must admit, there was a couple of his films that I didn't really gravitate towards as well. But yeah, I did went back and rewatch A Bigger Splash from 2016. Now, I did remember really enjoying this film when I originally saw it. So when was this? About 9-10 years ago, something like that. I've seen it a couple times, and I was thinking for the longest time, yeah, do you know what? This is actually a really good, like, original film here, and like a perfect film to watch at this time of year. But I went back and rewatched it after 7-8 years, guys, and I'm gonna be totally honest, guys, this was not as good as I originally remembered. I thought there was an interesting idea to this. There was an interesting premise. The execution is just not there with this film, and it just didn't hold up very well on this rewatch. I think Ralph Fiennes and Tilda Swinton are the standouts in this film. They are the best part of what this film is going for. But other than that, guys, just a lot of the other characters I just didn't find very interesting. And they're just always bickering on each other. They're always arguing, and it just there just wasn't a lot of likable characters in this film. I kind of wish we kind of focused more on Tilda Swinton's past in this movie, the characters, when they have the flashback scenes with her as a musician, and, you know, like the whole sort of band management side of the movie with Ralph Fiennes. I think if the film possibly focused on that opposed to like their reunion and their holiday, maybe I would have been a bit more invested in this film. But yeah, I don't know, this one I felt a little bit cold with on rewatch. It was too long. It did not need to be the near 2-hour mark as well, guys. And to be honest, the last 20 minutes, it was moving at a snail's pace. I'm going to be totally honest there. It was just a bit of an average film for me, this one. Not terrible, but I'll see. I'll keep this one in the collection, guys, but if I feel the same way as I do with kind of the next time I sit down and watch this film, I'm possibly gonna move it on from the collection, because yeah, it was all right, but just nothing to write home about. You know, I did find it was an interesting premise with them going to Italy and they're having like a long, like reunion and stuff. And I did like the music aspects with this. You know, there was a bit of a sort of intriguing side story there with Dakota Johnson and that Ryan Gosling lookalike. But yeah, other than that, guys, this was just a very middle of the road, nothing to write home sort of movie. And yeah, bit disappointing in this one on rewatch. A Bigger Splash, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10 there. And a first time watch this time, and I thought this one was a lot better. It was one of the Criterion Blu-rays that was sat on the shelf for probably nearly a year now, something like that, and with Lily Taylor and River Phoenix, and that is the film Dogfight. So yeah, this one was very good actually. Yeah, I really liked this one. River Phoenix stars as someone called Eddie, who's who works with the Marines. and he's about to obviously travel. He's about to travel out with his friends as well and fellow Marines as well. And whilst they're back in San Francisco, they decide to sort of make a pact, a deal to kind of like make sure each is kind of with the right person before they leave. And one thing leads to another. River Phoenix, out of the blue in this cafe, discovers Lily Taylor's character. I forget her name now, but she was fantastic in this film, I will say as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed the chemistry between River Phoenix and Lily Taylor in this film. But yeah, and then when she finds out more about kind of what this group of friends are up to, she kind of starts to have a second opinion about Eddie, but Eddie is just trying to prove that he's not trying to do anything rash or drastic here. He only wants to have a pleasant night with this girl. Interesting story, very good film, this one as well, actually. And yeah, I thought it was a beautiful ending as well, guys. When you get to that ending, it's kind of, yeah, a little bit of a somber ending. I kind of like, there was one quite comical scene as well when they're in like the restaurant, and I think basically River Phoenix, Eddie, his character gets constantly told off for constantly swearing. And then she starts to do it as well, like to take the piss. And that was quite a humorous scene, I will say. That was quite a comical moment in the film. And yeah, I kind of liked it. There's one scene where they'd be listening to a record by Joan Baez together as well. So yeah, good film, very good film actually. Yeah, this one did quite surprise me a bit actually. The film Dogfight, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 there. This is a film that I picked up for pennies on DVD, like back at, I think it was the British Heart Foundation in Berwick. So I picked this film up for about 50 pence on DVD, and it was a film I kind of discovered through Warren Goose's movies, and that is Babette's Feast. This film reminded me a little bit of the film The Taste of Things, which I thought was a beautiful film. Actually, I would like to get that on, on Blu-ray at some point. Yeah, really enjoyed that from last year. And this is kind of has a bit of a similar bulk to that film, a little bit of a similar sort of resemblance there. And yeah, I thought this was a very solid film actually, set in the 19th century in Denmark, about a housekeeper, Babette, who she's got a little bit of a kind of a bit of a like sort of like interesting personality. She's got a little bit of an interesting past as well, and I think she used to work at like this restaurant. She basically I think wins like this sum of money, this lottery, and she decides to sort of form sort of like a bit of a gathering of like people from the village who haven't spoken to each other for like probably a length of time actually, and have had a bit of a checkered history there. And she kind of wants for them to like have the to kind of bring them together, have their own peace as well, over like a satisfying sort of like gathering and a meal as well. And yeah, I thought this was a really interesting film actually. It was a decent story, and I really just loved the whole like when they're kind of having that meal as well, and just, I think it was really well decorated, and just some of the food in there just looked really advertising as well. And I just felt it was really well captured as well in that like sort of set in that century. Yeah, it was really good, and I kind of liked, learning about each of the characters, and like why did one character fell out with the next as well. And there's one quite quite whimsical scene there as well, where this guy wants to give like singing lessons as well. I mean, I certainly probably need those singing lessons, to be honest, because yeah, I can't sing for shit. But anyways, yeah, but this was a good film actually, guys, and definitely and I thought the ending was pretty good. And I thought there was just a lot of heart and emotion to this one, and well attached here. And there's actually one scene that caught me off guard, actually. From what I remember, there was like a scene, it was kind of like a little bit of a dreamscape scene, and it was evolving like, I think it was like a turtle or something that really caught me off guard. I didn't expect that to happen. It felt very kind of a little bit out of place, but it was interesting how it was sort of well centered there during the film. So yeah, good film, that Babette's Feast. I'm gonna give a 7 out of 10 there. After Sun, I had this I think on Letterboxd 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd for the longest time, but do you know what, guys? I bumped it up to 5 out of 5 this time around. Oh, wow. I absolutely love this film. I know this film didn't work for everybody, guys, and that is absolutely fine, by the way. Different strokes for different folks and all that. But personally, I have a really good connection with this film, and I just think the whole father and daughter relationship, and kind of looking back, who is it? What's the girl's name? Is it Abby? She's looking back on like her last holiday with her father, played by like Paul Mescal. I think his name is Connor. Connor is the father's name, and yeah, I think it's Sophie. Sorry, Sophie's the name of the daughter in this film, and yeah. Beautiful movie, guys. So, you know, focusing on like her last holiday with her father, and there's just a lot of sweet moments to this one where they have that karaoke scene again when they're either on the boat as well, or where they're just kind of like looking at like these carpets and that. But the soundtrack is excellent here as well, and man, when that ending kicks in, it has a real tug at the heartstrings. But phenomenal movie, guys, and definitely still stands as one of Mubi's finest, one of the best films from 2022 as well. And that ornate score is just beautiful, I've got to say as well. So yeah, After Sun, I'm going to give a 9.5 out of 10, guys. It is a near to perfection film for me. I absolutely love this one. Then I watched, finally at long last, I watched the film Tale of Cinema, like foreign language film, and yeah, I think Japanese film, and I again had the Blu-ray sat on the shelf for goodness knows how long, and I decided to watch it, and yeah, this was quite good actually. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one. You know, kind of about two stories where this guy, I think he's going through like depression, and he's feeling a little bit suicidal. He's kind of just at a bit of a loose end, and then he meets this girl, and this girl's, she's having all these problems. Well, it kind of brings them together. You focus on the guy who is, I think, is a young filmmaker, and he discovers that, like, he just discovers, like, this actress is in the same place as him, and she stars in like the most recent film that he has just literally been to see at the cinema, and then it kind of brings them together as well. And yeah, I thought this was quite an interesting film, this one, guys. Not gonna have like much rewatchability for me. There were a few plodding moments here and there in this film, but I thought it was pretty good. And yeah, I kind of liked Again, I think there was one karaoke scene in this film as well, again, which is such a coincidence. And yeah, I quite liked this one, and just and I did like the whole sort of again, the aspect of kind of you know, the guy who's trying to like come up with sort of like, I found interesting as well the whole relationship between the guy and his mother, and like his mother is kind of having a bit of a different perspective on this guy when he comes home one day, and and so they're having a little bit of a disagreement, but then his brother is trying to tell the mother that he's having a little bit of he's been having a couple of you know, things have been a little bit problematic here and there. So that was quite an interesting aspect of the film. But yeah, Tales Cinema, decent film, guys. And if you're into like your world cinema, and you see this one for a decent deal in the Arrow sale, definitely well worth picking this one up in the next Arrow sale. Tales Cinema, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 there. Again, guys, another Blu-ray that has been sat on the shelf for months on end, and I thought, do you know what, it's a perfect time to be watching westerns at the minute, and I decided to watch Sam Peckinpah's other western. I think he's had a couple other westerns as well, with The Ballad of Cable Hogg, and then there's The Wild Bunch, and then there's this one, Ride to High Country. And I must admit, guys, when I watched The Wild Bunch, I did overhype it a little bit for myself there. I was a bit underwhelmed by that film. I didn't really like it all that much, to be honest, which I know is sacrilege to say that. However, Ride to the High Country, I did the opposite. I went into it with mid-ground expectations, and yeah, I quite enjoyed this one, actually. A lot more than I did with The Wild Bunch, which that could be an absolute hot take right there. I know, right? But yeah, I quite enjoyed this one. And I thought, again, it was a decent story about the sheriff who he's got a duty to kind of transfer all this gold from this like mining town to this bank, and he goes on like a bit of a journey with him and like this gunslinger, but he's got other plans of kind of what to do with this this gold as well, but he's keeping it to himself. And then there's kind of like there's a group that comes together, you know, like in order to deliver the gold from this mining town to this bank. And then along the way they stumble upon this girl who lives in this village, who's kind of being a little bit mistreated by her father, and yeah, this guy is starting to fall in love with her. But then when the girl joins them on their like a sort of adventure, I mean, you could call it an adventure really, and then when they go to like this other side of this sort of this sort of western town, yeah, by the mountainside. So she then is reacquainted with this guy, but this guy, again, is not all what he seems. I'll just say that. But yeah, I quite liked this one, guys. Definitely had a much better time with this than I did with The Wild Bunch. But yeah, what I really liked about this as well was, again, the runtime didn't outstay its welcome. It was like 90 minutes, which sometimes that can be really good for a Western. I mean, Good, Bad and the Ugly is clocking in for 3 hours, but like the runtime just with that movie at least flies by, because you're pretty much invested into the whole plot with that movie. Whereas there are 1 or 2 Westerns that can be 90 minutes or 2 hours, and you're thinking, whoa, this is dragging on a little bit here, but this was a good, like, solid 90-minute Western, and yeah, I quite enjoyed this one. All the characters I thought was pretty good. Randolph Scott, I thought was a great, like, leading character to this one, and yeah, there was a couple of, like, decent shootout scenes, good final act as well. Ride to the High Country, I'm gonna give a 6.5 out of 10 there. Then I had a rewatch of the film The Boat That Rocked. Now, recently picked up the Blu-ray for cheap as chips, and I haven't seen it for a long time. Richard Curtis is a great director, I've got to say as well, guys. And yeah, I went back and rewatched The Boat That Rocked, and yeah, really good this one, guys. Really enjoyed this one. Again, just the 60s aesthetic, the whole pirate radio like station setting was really good here, and you kind of learn a lot about that through this film, which I kind of didn't know too much about that prior to this film, so I've got this film to thank for that. And I just thought the whole cast is great in there, you know. I think I just love kind of like, you've got different personalities that come together for like kind of sort of the same reason, but they've got like different personalities as well. The standout for me was kind of Rhys Evans as Gavin, who kind of returns on this cruise after like a number of like years, I think for like, well, after a few months, I think. And what I really liked about this film as well is that there's no holding back with kind of how they present themselves, with like being on like the radio as well, and kind of, you know, kind of speaking to the crowd as well. I really enjoyed all of them aspects, but I kind of liked how this film was kind of set around like a year or something on all different seasons. Interesting side story with Bill Nighy's godson in this film. I really liked that. And then you got the Irish guy. He had an interesting sort of side story as well, and it kind of is interlinked with Gavin in there. So yeah, and Nick Frost. I love Nick Frost, and I love his character in there, who's got such a like bubbly, charismatic personality about him. And Bill Nighy's great. I love Bill Nighy. So yeah, great cast of this one. Philip Seymour Hoffman is fantastic in this film. There's just, yeah, and I just think all the characters are just really interesting when they're played off by excellent like range of actors there as well. But the 60s aesthetic in there as well, and I just think as well like the pacing is great for a film that is kind of, for the vast majority, set on this boat, and it's like, what, 2+ hour. It keeps you engaged throughout as well, and I kind of liked the whole, there was the side story there with Kenneth Branagh as the Prime Minister in there, which was quite an interesting part to the story. So yeah, The Boat That Rocked, I'm going to give a 7.5 out of 10 there, guys. The Colossus of New York. I didn't like this movie, guys. Like, don't get us wrong, I'd be up for giving this another viewing. It won't be for a while. I mean, it's only under the 70-minute mark, so I could easily be happy to watch this one again and see if my opinion has changed. But yeah, this just was a bit pants, to be honest. The story was just a bit dull. The scientific experimental side was decent. Obviously, the guy at the start who he tries to rescue his son's, I think his son's fire engine toy or something like that, and then he sadly gets run over. He dies. He tragically dies in this film, and then he's brought back to life as this robot, which I thought was an interesting idea for this film. But yeah, everything else was just a bit dry. It was a bit paint dry, a little bit boring. Yeah, there was just more like talkative scenes, which I don't normally mind for in a film, especially when it's in like kind of a, you know, a drama or something. But I think then it just took away with what the film was going for with this main like robot and stuff, which I was hoping we are going to see more of that, but it just fell a little bit flat on the surface. I didn't mind the whole house party scene and the whole kind of, I did like the whole scene when there was in that big house and, you know, in that sort of like that dining room, you know, and obviously the mother trying to explain what's happened to her son. But yeah, and that ending was just, yeah, that ending wasn't the best. It was a very lazy way to end the film, I must admit. It was not good. I would watch it again. I would watch it again, but not for a very long time. And I don't have a great deal to say about this one, guys. I just think in terms of like these B movies, there's a lot more other B movies I'm gonna have a lot more time for. You know, like the Ray Harryhausen stuff and all that. But yeah, this was just not very good in my opinion. The Colossus in New York, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 there. But guys, this was absolutely hands down far superior. And I thought, do you know what, I was back at my parents', by the way. I was watching like majority of these films in this segment. I went back and watched at my parents', and do you know what, I thought, well, I haven't seen this for about 4 years or something. I've seen it countless times over the years, and yeah, I thought, do you know what, I've watched The Boat That Rocked, and that had a great, like, sort of 60s aesthetic to it. So I thought, on a similar vibe to that, I went back and rewatched Quadrophenia. I absolutely love and adore this film, guys. This film is incredible. A film that I watched at that perfect time when I was really getting into the Who's music, but also just the likes of the German bands in from that mod scene as well. And this is incredible. You know, I love kind of when you focus on the whole like mod scene of the 60s, and I think this film, in my opinion, does it down to a T. I think it does it best. A film that kind of focuses on the whole rivalry between the mods and the rockers in like 1960s Brighton. This film accomplishes it, and I just think this film handles it the best. I just love the whole like main story with Jimmy, played by Phil Daniels. And you kind of sympathise with his character. He's at this sleazy dead-end job, and he's not really enjoying his kind of working life. But then when you focus on his social life and with like the group of mods, that's where it kind of brings him on his feet, really. And so kind of a bit of a similar aspect to Human Traffic there, where you get a couple of people in the film that are a bit fed up with their jobs and working life, but then when they get to the weekends, that's where it really lifts up their spirits. So there is a little bit similar aspect to Human Traffic there with this film, you could say, but both pretty different films as well, with its story and tone and that 60s music scene, the Quadrophenia album that really just, it kind of plays a great part throughout in terms of like songs playing, to like accompany different scenes and moments here and there in the movie, and it really just elevates that. It just works. But yeah, again, that classic We Are the Mod scene in Brighton, when you get to that whole Brighton segment of the film, it's absolutely fantastic. Sting as well, as cool as Sting is in this film, and yeah, I think this is an absolutely fantastic film, guys. I will no doubt in my mind be talking about again in my top 10 British films video, which is a film that has been long on my radar and been kind of sort of like on my to-do list for the channel as well. So yeah, this isn't the first time I talked about this film on the channel, and it certainly won't be the last either. So Quadrophenia, I'm gonna give a 9 out of 10, guys. I think this film is absolutely bloody ace. Talking about my generation indeed there. My local cinema in Blythe at the Market Pavilion, I went to go and see The Life of Chuck. Now, yeah, I thought this film was beautiful, guys. I really enjoyed this. It was not kind of how I expected it was going to start off. This film was obviously, you're focusing on kind of like, what does the future behold and where is this going to go sort of thing at present tense. And you kind of get a, you kind of get a little bit of a sort of like, you look at sort of the character of Charles, who's played by Tom Hiddleston, and, he keeps coming in and out of the picture. Who is this Charles and why does he keep appearing in like sort of this present tense? And then you get a real learning and understanding and the importance of his character. And I thought it was just a great way to kind of learn about his character, kind of like, why did he all of a sudden just stop and dance to this rhythm one day? Or, like you learn about like his enthusiasm for dancing and stuff and him working at this company. But you meet so many other interesting characters along the way as well. That main guy in like the first chapter, he was excellent as well. And then obviously Mark Hamill was a great supporting role. Great to see Karen Gillan in there as well. But Tom Hiddleston, obviously, Tom Hiddleston was absolutely great as Chuck in this film. And, like when you get to that ending, you really, like learn of, like what life can be and like, like where can things lead up to. And it's a beautiful film, guys. I think, again, this is just a really interesting adaptation of the Stephen King like novel as well. So yeah, The Life of Chuck, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10, guys. Excellent film, one I would definitely revisit again in the future. And it's just so interesting, like to learn about one character through kind of like into 3 chapters. Great stuff, that. Great film, that. Then I had a first time watch of Scum, the British like film that's kind of hailed as one of the greatest British films, and I can see why, guys. I thought this was pretty brilliant. Brutal at the same time. It was absolutely brutal, and you learn kind of how drastic things can get, like about these young offenders in this prison, and like you learn about why they're in prison, the crimes they committed, but what they are capable of in prison life and outside of prison life as well. A young Ray Winston, and he was brilliant in this. You don't actually see his character throughout the duration of the movie. It was interesting to see this film kind of focusing on individual characters, whereas it's not just on one main character, which is Ray Winston's character, but you focus on Phil Daniels' character, who he plays a nasty bastard in that film, by the way, guys. Very different character to Jimmy in Quadrophenia. And you've got the guy Archer in there, like who's basically, he just basically wants to stand in what he believes in. And there's that horrific greenhouse scene, which, yeah, the people that said that greenhouse scene isn't a pretty sight indeed, them people weren't wrong. That was a really brutal moment in the film. And then one character's departure towards the end of the film as well was pretty upsetting. But at the same time, guys, it is a great movie, you know, and definitely one of the best prison dramas I have seen as well. And yeah, like it's got that real cold, wintry, you know, setting about it. You know, it really brings those chills to the story as well. And it's a great film, guys. And definitely, yeah, I think I can understand now why this was holding such high regard. Scum, I'm gonna give an 8 out of 10 there. Then I watched a British kind of football hooligan gem, which I've not seen for about a few years now, and I thought, you know what, I was in the mood to check out a couple more British movies, and this being one of them, The Football Factory. I've seen this one before, guys, and yep, I do really like this one. Frank Harper, who is this real tough up character who, you know, like is kind of the top dog of this firm, you know, like of Chelsea fans, you know, in this firm. And basically they're just a bit like in Green Street. They're kind of just anticipating, counting down the days till they play Millwall in the FA Cup. So pretty similar vein to Green Street there. But again, you kind of learn about sort of a couple of individual characters and their profile as well, you know, either their social life or working life. It was great to see Danny Dyer in this movie as well. Frank Harper steals the show, but Danny Dyer was really good in this film as well. Just really showcases the ins and outs of football away days and what it can be like in reality. And yeah, this is a pretty good film, that one. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 there. At the Market Pavilion in Blythe, and I watched the latest film from Celine Song, and that is Materialists. Now, yeah, this one has been getting a bit of a mixed reception. For me personally, guys, I really liked this one. I just thought, you know, like what Celine Song did with like Past Lives, with sort of the character work, the relationship building as well. I thought she did an amazing job with this sort of the character work in this film as well. You know, like dates, like kind of matchmaker, like company, and you know, like this girl who played by Dakota Johnson is trying to like, you know, like see like look at like sort of like people she's working with, and just like to match them up with the like the right people in order to kind of form a date there that could lead on to a relationship. And she's kind of, you know, like working, you know, like in that line of work, but on top of this, she's kind of like destined of who she wants to be with, either Chris Evans or like Pedro Pascal's character. So kind of like sort of like an uncanon sort of rivalry between A. Johnny Storm and A. Reeve Richards, if that kind of makes sense there. But yeah, I thought this was a good movie, guys. Good soulful movie as well. And yeah, I just kind of liked, you kind of like got a bit of kind of, you know, two sort of like sides to the story, really, where, you know, like one side you're focusing on her like reunion with Chris Evans' character and her like kind of getting to know Pedro Pascal's character. But on top of this as well, you've got a little bit of a serious side story with someone who went on a day, and that day you know, like didn't turn out all what it seems. So it's a pretty interesting movie, this one, guys. And yeah, I thought, again, I kind of liked how, again, the film is like looking at kind of one's past and how it brings them back to present day as well. So overall, good movie, guys. I don't think this one's gonna have tons of rewatchability for me, but it's a good film. One I would return to in the future. Materialists, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10 there. Rise of the Foot Soldier. Now, yep, I know this is a beloved film series, especially kind of like in the Blue Tube community. I know this is a really well beloved film series. So I thought, do you know what? I love British cinema. I'm going to see what this is all about. And yeah, I thought this was excellent, guys. Really good stuff. You know, like a great, like, film, but again, a bit like a couple of the other films I've talked about here. Very nitty gritty and violent as well. And it's kind of like, it's about kind of the Essex boys in 1995, it kind of leading up to that, and then you kind of learn about this top dog of this like crime organization from the 80s to like the early 90s, and yeah, like over the course of these years, and you kind of learn about kind of sort of what he's kind of, him in that criminal underworld, and you know, like one or two of his associates who's kind of in a bit of in like some sort of current states of affairs, and there's one character in there that's kind of just trying to like protect his family in the best way shape possible. And I think is it Charlton, he's trying to give him the best advice possible there and reach out to him. So yeah, and then you've got some great actors in there as well. There's some really good acting, a very good film, guys. Some shocking moments as well, that's very to the knuckle as well. And you know, you kind of learn about Charlton's like relationship, and there's kind of, you know, like a bit of a brawl in the family there, and that, and it's a good film, guys. And just, you know, there's some really dark tension that gets captured in there as well. Rise of the Foot Soldier was great, guys, and I'm quite interested now to check out the sequels to this one. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Then me and my dad went to Tyneside Cinema on Bank Holiday Monday. We went to go and see Akira from Akira Kurosawa, and wow, guys, this is absolutely incredible. This is my best first time watch of the year. I'm probably not going to spend ages talking about this one, because, you know, I probably will go into a bit more in-depth to this film in that video when I come to doing that video of best first time watches of the year. Incredible as it was on my first viewing, and just seeing it on like the big screen, everyone applauded at the end of the film as well. That just goes to show like what an incredible engaging film this is, learning the importance of this character who has found out this sudden news, and he's trying to sort of like, you know, like pick himself up back on his feet and just enjoy life to his heart's content. A lot of emotional beats to this one, and there are some scenes that is just, you know, like quite upsetting. The scene where there's this 1920s song that's playing in the background, and he just breaks down and he's in floods of tears, and it is quite heartbreaking as well. I really just thought that the family orientated side of the film is so engaging to watch, and you know, you learn even more about how important of a leading character this guy is, who kind of works at like this sort of like this office, and he's trying to sort of like prove that this is a safe area for like this sort of this like leisure place to be built there. So it's a really good, really fantastic film, guys. And yeah, I must admit there was a couple of scenes here and there that really got me there, I must admit. So Akira, absolutely wonderful, guys. My favourite Akira Kurosawa film, and I love the chemistry between the main guy and one of his employees in there. Yeah, really great. Akira, I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. I think this film's absolutely beautiful. Then I went back to Tyneside Cinema the following day to go and see Punch Drunk Love from Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, there has been PTA season at Tyneside Cinema in the lead up to PTA's brand new film, One Battle After Another, which I'm sure I'll be checking out in September. And of course, I will talk more about that when I come to doing the September edition of this. But Punch Drunk Love, yeah, guys, this film has just got better for me on each viewing. I think this film is absolutely fantastic. You know, like Adam Sandler is someone who works at kind of like this, it's like this factory, I think, like dealing with like merchandise and that, and then he it feels like really lonesome. He's a bit of a lost soul. He's got a little bit of a chaotic family life as well. And then he decides one day that he kind of wants to get in contact with, you know, like a hotline. And then, you know, like he gives all and everything that could go wrong for this character goes drastically wrong, out of proportion, where to the point where his life is at stake. He has just made the ultimate regret of giving, you know, like his bank details that, you know, he is informed it is confidential, but he's been lied to. And, you know, like his head is just all over the shop, basically, guys, and you really feel for him. But what's kind of like bringing him on his feet is kind of like his relationship with like Emily Watson's character in there. And yeah, love the score from John Brion in this, by the way, guys. And yeah, I think again the way the film is paced, sort of like the pacing of this film, and kind of, you know, those real sort of like those kind of those anxiety-inducing moments, immense at the same time as that. Absolutely fantastic film, guys. One of my favourite Paul Thomas Anderson films. And yeah, just great to see Adam Sandler, you know, in like a dramatic role like this. I will say, guys, if you're not a fan of Adam Sandler's like more comedy films and you want to see want to see him do something a little bit more of a serious role, then this is a perfect starting place for checking out something that's kind of, you know, like more on the lines of his more like serious dramatic roles. This would be a great starting point. So yeah, Punch Drunk Love, I'm going to give an 8.5 out of 10, guys. I think this is a fantastic film. Louis Guzman, great to see him. He keeps cropping up in everything, doesn't he? So yeah, excellent film that, and great to see it at Tyneside Cinema as well. And then I had a first time watch of the Alfred Hitchcock film, The Wrong Man. Yeah, so do you know what, guys? Not only Alfred Hitchcock, but I've been wanting to check out more of Henry Fonda films as well, because I think Henry Fonda is just such a fantastic actor. And yeah, guys, this was a really good film. Did not disappoint, but then again, guys, Alfred Hitchcock, I just think a director, you know, like you know, who's just got a glorious, vast catalogue of films. It's kind of impossible for this director to make a bad film, and just with what he's capable of and giving us some of the greatest films of all time there, like under his belt. And this is a good film. Yeah, The Wrong Man, based off a true story, and about this guy who one day he pops into the bank, you know, like just to kind of make a loan, and then he is identified as the wrong person who made like this robbery one day, who threatens this lady who works at this bank, and it all just keeps coming tumbling down for him. You know, he gets accused, he gets mistaken for the wrong person, and you just really feel sorry for this guy because he's just such an innocent being in this film. And yeah, this is a fantastic watch, guys. I just love the whole, like, you know, nightlife setting with NYC in this, and also scenes in like that big house, and you've got Vera Miles, who she's on like with her in the phone conversations as well. Also, yeah, I just think, again, a film of two halves where you focus on like why he's been accused of this, and in the second half he's kind of you know, like learning more about why he has been accused of this and what actually happened on this event that he's been, you know, like mistaken for this wrong person on that event, you know, at that time and place. It's a great movie, guys, and yeah, it's definitely you know, like I would definitely say a little bit of a hidden gem there for Alfred Hitchcock. The Wrong Man, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 there. Mystique Pizza, which I believe I discovered through Ollie, actually. And this was fine. Yeah, this was not too bad, actually. I didn't mind this one. Definitely not one of my favourite sort of like, I wouldn't say it's a full-on comedy, but kind of, I would say coming-of-age drama. I would probably say it's not one of my favourite coming-of-age dramas, but I enjoyed this one all the same, you know, like it was kind of, I believe this is the film I've seen kind of the earliest role from Julia Roberts, and you've got a young Matt Damon in there as well. I really liked the side story with Lily Taylor, who was in the film Dogfight, which I've spoken about earlier in the video, and kind of like her just looking after babysitting for this, for this guy, and you know, like looking after his I think his daughter, and then you kind of find Lily Taylor and this guy is starting to have a little bit of chemistry there, but kind of like the whole story with this pizza place that's, you know, like got its on and off days in this business, and they're kind of under pressure with this food critic that's about to like appear out of the blue one day. And yeah, I thought this was a pretty good film. This was a decent film, guys. And yeah, also just kind of like, you know, learning about each relationship as well. And yeah, the one quite sort of sudden scene where this guy just, you know, like this guy just goes absolutely ape shit. Yeah, that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. And then this guy that's trying to propose to this girl, like just on this boat, but he's just doing it for a bit of shit and giggles. And then, so that was a little bit of a random scene, but not a bad movie, guys. Not, again, one I'm going to come back to too often, but I did quite like this one. And yeah, it was just an easy watching 90-minute movie, that one. Mystique Pizza, I'm going to give a 6.5 out of 10 there. It was a decent little film, that one, to be honest. And yeah, good summary setting to that one as well. And kind of like the whole like wedding party setting. Yeah, that was a decent watch, that one. Then I watched a film which I consider to be so underrated. I think I discovered this through Ollie and Jodie, I think is how I discovered this film, and that is Moonlight Mile. And oh my God, guys, this was an excellent film. I really enjoyed this one. So underrated. Like, you know, you've got Dustin Hoffman, Susan Sarandon, Holly Hunter, and Jake Gyllenhaal. And yeah, I thought this was great. Like, about this guy who's trying to sort of like, he's kind of, you know, thinking upon his past relationship with this girl who sadly passed away, and learning about like the last time when he saw her, and like the last place she was at before she was like killed. And yeah, this film, you know, like it kind of showcases grief and kind of like, you know, like reflecting on like the last time they saw this girl. Like Jake Gyllenhaal's character's learning about kind of more about his past with like his fiance, and when did he last see her, and how their relationship was in the like towards the end. And yeah, it's a really good film, and he's kind of like working as like an estate agent, you know, like going into business with Dustin Hoffman's character, like this, I think it's Diane's father in this film. By the way, Dustin Hoffman, Susan Sarandon, guys, were fantastic together in this film, by the way. And the girl who Jake Gyllenhaal has got a little bit of a love interest for midway through this film, where she's working at this bar and that. And yeah, this was a great movie, guys. Amazing soundtrack as well. Absolutely loved the soundtrack with like Van Morrison, Jefferson Airplane and Bob Dylan, and the list goes on. It is just, yeah, really good. I kind of liked the jukebox like scenes in this film as well, and again, just some of the like the nightlife, you know, setting on this road, on these streets as well. And yeah, I just think mainly set in this like town throughout the film, but there's just so much packed in there to keep you interested. And the whole like sort of courtroom stuff, an interesting part of the movie as well. So yeah, Moonlight Mile I thought was very good, guys. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10 there. King of the Hill. Now, in my July Watchers video, I did say I was a little bit underwhelmed by the film The Informant. I didn't dislike that movie by any means. I just think I was a bit, you know, I was just a bit underwhelmed by that film. However, this film was actually surprisingly quite good, actually. Yeah, this one I did much prefer. Set in the 1930s, and a family that are living in this motel, and the dad, the father, he goes on away on an exhibition, I think it is, sorry. He goes away on that adventure, and then he's away on business, and their mother is quite under the weather, and yeah, she's kind of kind of away from home because from one reason to the next. So and then they've got 2 sons, and one of them is like gone away as well, and yeah, like away somewhere else. And then it's all down to like this young chap who kind of looks after like this hotel room whilst like his parents are away and his brother is away, and that. And yeah, this was such an interesting film, actually engaging as well, where, you know, you kind of focus on how this young lad is coping with kind of taking like in command of like this motel like to himself, but also kind of like he kind of like meets like a couple of other friends along the way, like one girl who's she's kind of a bit shy and stuff, and they've got like their own like chemistry as well, and also, but this and then there's this police guard who's always kind of like you know, like kind of keeping an eye out on him because of like some sort of like business and wheeling dealing that his like father has made and that. So it was quite interesting, this film. Also there was a cool side story with, I think, that like that doctor as well, like or that professor, which I quite liked, actually. So this was pretty good, actually, guys. I will say I loved some of the score to this film as well. Some of the score was really nice as well in this movie. But yeah, and also great to see a young Adrien Brody in there as well. Actually, that was what I was meant to say. The side story of Adrien Brody was really cool in this film as well, and you find he's into a little bit of mischief, and you learn a bit about that as well. So King of the Hill, guys, I thought was pretty good, actually. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10, and definitely, yeah, kind of a good return to form there for my Steven Soderbergh binge that I've been on, like working through his filmography and that. Then I went to the Market Pavilion to go and see in Blythe. I went to go and see the film Caught Stealing, the new Darren Aronofsky film, and wow, yeah, guys, surprisingly pretty good, because I did really like the look of this film from the trailer, but I was kind of thinking, oof, am I gonna, it could have gone either way. Am I actually gonna like this, or maybe get a little bit disappointed, but thankfully, yeah, surprisingly quite good all the same. It was quite interesting, you know, like I kind of liked the late 90s setting with New York to this one. Also kind of just the camera angle shots as well, like the low panel, the low angle and the wide angle shots I thought was really interested here, and like the bird eye view shots, and also this similar vein to Cat's Eye in a way where you just get this cat that comes in and out of the movie where there's this crime going on. And yeah, I found that quite interesting. There was a bit of a reoccurrence there, but Austin Butler, who's like this ex-baseball player, you know, he's a massive supporter of like this baseball team. And when he comes out of the blue one day, like, he looks after his neighbour's cat, that's it. But then he like out of the blue and out of nowhere, he is like basically, you know, like attached to this like criminal underworld when he at least expect it, where these two guys just appear out of the blue one day and they're on the hunt after him from one reason to the next, and then he's on a little bit of a vital mission there, and then with this that FBI agent as well. This was a really interesting film, guys. I loved Matt Smith. I love Matt Smith, as you know, guys, and it was great to see Matt Smith with the screen time he had in this film as well. Also, couple of awesome, like, sort of, like, fast-paced moments as well, like, some cool, like, action suspense in this movie as well. And the ending was quite good. You know what? It actually did feel a bit like a Guy Ritchie film at times, this movie, for me as well. But pretty good stuff, guys. Absolutely would watch this one again, and definitely worth seeing at the cinema. Yeah, Austin Butler was great. Also, great to see Zoe Kravitz in this movie as well. Caught Stealing, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10 there. Then I had a rewatch of the A24 film 8th Grade. Yeah, I've seen this one a few times. A really cool indie gem, this one. Kind of with not a really, like, big cast, but that's never a bad thing by any means. This girl called Kayla, who is a little bit shy. She's kind of very much herself to herself, and she's kind of wanted to like reach new goals in life and just kind of make the most of the last year at the school. And yeah, this is a really just like lovely little film, this one. I kind of think the modern music side of this film really works in this film as well. And again, you know, it is very modern heavy going, this film, but I think it really works kind of with the amplified music that's captured in this film. But also it's got those real emotional beats in there as well. I really like the chemistry in this movie as well. Like, I thought Josh Hamilton, who looks a bit like Jim Carrey in this film, I've always said that, to be fair, and he plays a great supporting role in this as well. And it's a really great coming of age movie, this one as well. And I love the ending as well. Beautiful message at the ending. There's some really good messages in this as well. And also Kayla, who's got like her own YouTube channel in this movie as well, and she's trying to kind of like give as much inspirational advice possible to anyone that's kind of like looking for like tips and that. Yeah, so 8th Grade, really cool film, this one. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10 there. The Way Back, yeah, had to be done, guys, you know, like, as I say, because we're still in summer as it is, and I thought I'd chuck in like a nice, easy watching, like, summery esque movie, and that's exactly what I did with this film. And yeah, I think this is just a really sweet, wholesome little film, this one. You know, like, we kind of learn about, you know, this guy who he's kind of wanting to spend time with his dad in California, but yet he is on holiday with his stepdad, who he doesn't kind of see eye to eye with, and also it's Steve Carell's daughter in there, and also with Toni Collette as well, who is Duncan's mother. So they go on like their own family holiday, and then he basically he's kind of a bit of a lost soul, you know. He's kind of a little bit distant from his family, and then he finds like a summer job at this water park, led by Sam Rockwell, and that kind of really lifts his spirits again, and you really see that he's kind of warming to like his holiday more now he's kind of recruited by this team at this water park. Yeah, so very fun movie, guys. Good soundtrack, actually. I do like the soundtrack to this one, but yeah, I think again there's just a lot of heart and soul to this one as well. You know, it's good to kind of focus on the family dynamic side of the movie, but also kind of the friendship side of the movie as well, and also Anna Sophie Robb, I think it is. She plays a great supporting role to the story as well. And yeah, good movie, this one, guys. The way back, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 there. Then I had a rewatch of a film that I have spoken in volumes about how much I love this film. I've done a dedicated review to this film as well. But that is the 1968 Planet of the Apes. Yep, again, guys, I thought I've only watched this film the once this year. I thought, yes, I need to watch this a second time this year. And absolutely amazing stuff, guys, as ever. I always find something new on every viewing with this film. Every time I watch this film, I always pick up on something new and fresh to kind of like my previous viewings, and this is a film that just only grows and grows and gets better and better on each viewing, and I absolutely love it, guys. This was the film that kick-started it all for this wonderful film series. You know, Taylor, who is one of the most badass protagonists there, played wonderfully by Charlton Heston. Nova, who's a great supporting character, played by the beautiful Linda Harrison. And yeah, I just love the whole setting with Ape City, the whole mystery around the Forbidden Zone, the set designs, the glorious score composed exquisitely by Jerry Goldsmith. I just love every single minute of this movie, and that ending is really daunting, and it leaves on a bit of a shock horror note there. And yeah, it is a really daunting ending, one of the most claustrophobic endings put to film there. And yeah, I just think everything about this film is just absolute perfection, guys. And I will still continue on to watch this film annually every year and keep falling in love with it, and just also love the designs of the apes. Maurice Evans is Dr. Zayas, who's a really just cool, you know, like character, and just got a really crisp voice as well. And yeah, absolutely wonderful film, guys. I did do a review on the channel when I went through all the Planet of the Apes movies like last year when I was reviewing them on the channel. So Planet of the Apes, 10 out of 10, bloody ace indeed. And the final film I watched in the month of August, and it is still till this day one of the greatest films ever put to screen. It is a stone cold classic for a reason that I had the absolute honour of seeing on a second wonderful occasion at the cinema. This time around, my local cinema in Blythe. And yep, absolutely jawsome. You're going to need a bigger bow indeed. Jaws. Yeah, this film is just does everything it should do when you're watching a shark movie. It ticks all the boxes, you know, wherever that's the glorious tension that arises in here, the tension building is just absolutely second to none in this film. But also the character work, with Chief Brody and everyone else. You've got so many amazing characters put to the screen here, and it's just unbelievable. The filmmaking side of it and the shark just really holds up in this film still to this day. It is just absolutely jawsome indeed, and the score from John Williams just really spices up that tension factor down to a T in this film. This film is just unbelievable, guys. I would be shocked if there could be a film to come out in the future that could top this, because this is just at another level of quality here. It's another level of glory. It looks great as well. The print looks absolutely astonishing, and there are some great moments where, with no pun intended, your jaw hits the floor. Chief Brody, one of the greatest protagonists put to screen here, played wonderfully by Roy Scheider. It's just absolutely fantastic, this film, guys. Definitely top 3 Steven Spielberg film for me. And, 50 years later, still one of the most beloved films ever. And it's aged like fine wine, this film has. But yeah, the cinematic experience was great, guys. The scene where Hooper, he basically, Richard Dreyfuss's character, where he's basically just observing underwater, and then something appears, and then I think there's a couple of ladies in the row, and I think they just shat themselves. I was like, whoa! And to be fair, I forgot there was a little bit of a jump scare in that film as well. But absolutely fantastic film, guys. The ending is just such a satisfying conclusion. It is the pinnacle of all shark movies, and this ain't leaving the top 1 spot anytime soon in terms of shark movies, guys, because this just does it the best. It's the first of the summer blockbusters. It is one of the greatest for a reason. Jaws gets a 10 out of 10 for me, guys, and I think it is so jawsome that there's people from all generations that is kind of going to see this for its 50th anniversary, and just kind of those nostalgic vibes, wherever that's people from the generation of when this film came out, but a newer, younger generation that is watching this film for the first time on the big screen and in that immaculate print as well. Yeah, absolutely wonderful film there, and just one of my favourite films of all time, and would be led on to a very good sequel 3 years after this as well. So guys, that is all the films that I have watched in the month of August, and I ended my August 2025 diary with 2 bangers there, 2 of my favourite ever films of all time, and yeah, it's been a cracking month for movie watching, guys, whether that's cinema trips, especially at my local cinema in Blythe that opened up earlier in the month, and also just Tyneside trips as well, and just just a lot of movie watching on physical media as well. It's been an absolutely great month for movie watching indeed, and I look forward to seeing what the month of September is going to bring to the table. So yeah, guys, have you seen any of these films? Do let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you so much. If you've got this far into the video, guys, thank you so much for sticking with this, because it's been an almighty video indeed. It's certainly been a long one. That's what she said. But yeah, absolutely love doing these monthly watches videos, and yeah, can't wait to see what's in store for the month of September. So hope everyone's had a wonderful summer, guys, and still having a wonderful summer because it is still summer into early September, and I'll be back for more content soon. So thanks for watching, cheers for stopping by, and until next time, I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye.